Thank you, Michael. Welcome, everyone. Getting into last week's game with Utah State, I just thought overall we were inconsistent in really on offense and defense. Maybe the one area everybody was talking about coming into the game was kicking game, and really that was very solid. I thought Tress Way hit the ball, obviously, when you have an 85-yard punt, and he kicked the ball off really well, covered well. All those areas seemed to do well, and Patrick O'Hara made everything that he had kicked, though one needs to be hit better, but in the end, to say the least. But still, and then, offensively, we have a lot of good things happen. We start the game off really well. Landry, really was comfortable moving well. DeMarco with the big run, and we ran the ball really pretty well most of the night, although there's some occasions in there where, you're getting 3, 4 that we feel maybe how they're playing us, we ought to be able to get 8, 9. And, so those are things we're trying to work on. A few times the Landry aborted protection when it was there and got a little bit hurried or rushed, and for whatever reasons. Landry's a sharp guy, smart guy, and has played a lot that I'm sure he'll, just getting back in the swing of things, he'll realize that, see it, and continue to make good, solid improvement like he always does. I thought our receivers stepped up and played well. It was good to see Cameron Kinney come on and really make some good competitive plays. DeJuan Miller made some plays. And, of course, Ryan Broyles was one of our players of the game, another huge night. Such a special player and competitor the way he plays. And DeMarco Murray, also over 200 yards, was the other player of the game. Defensively, we had some breakdowns in the secondary where we're in position to make some plays. A couple of times we get our back turned to the quarterback and ball where you can't make a play, and that shouldn't happen. We've got to be in a position to play the ball. And another time or two in man-to-man, we bid on a stop route, and it turns up on us. And Jamel on one play just has poor bump and run and gets beat on our side for a fade. But the rest of the night, Jamel has, I think, 4 or 5 passes broken up. He has an interception. He has 10 tackles. But that's kind of a life of a DB. You can do everything great all night, and you have one play that you're not, and it sticks out to everybody. But I've seen these guys all make these plays before. They were in position to make them, which is also a plus, and we just got to be able to finish on a few of those and play the ball better. And if we do, I feel confident we'll be able to do that and have a solid defense. Because the rest of the night, I thought our front four played well. All the different guys who rotated in there did a nice job, and same thing at linebacker. And again, in the secondary, a good part of the day, we were excellent. And then, but it doesn't take but a few breakdowns to have a poor day. See, players of the game defensively was Quentin Carter. He and Jeremy Beal, like always, really played well. Some other guys on offense, Trey Millard, really, did a nice job too. As a guy that, again, sometimes that unheralded position at tight end, fullback, H-back type, and for a young guy getting in there for the first time was very, very good. Getting into this week, it's exciting, of course, with Florida State coming here. New coach Jimbo Fisher, though not new to them. He's been there a long time, but now the head coach has done an excellent job. You look at their production offensively, and Christian Ponders does an excellent job at quarterback. You could see the maturity, the senior, very athletic, more so than people probably talk about with his ability to run and his feet. Excellent arm. You've got a lot of skilled players, fast guys, as you would expect when you watch a Florida State team, and an experienced offensive line that's always does a good job. Defensively, my brother Mark Stoops running the defenses. They're different than they were a year ago in their structure, and probably more zone defenses, and a little bit more like our style of defense. But in their first game, really played well. You could see the disciplined players in position to make plays. And again, you see an athletic team, guys that can run and play well. They've got some excellent special teams players. Got a big, strong punter that hits the ball, averages about 41-2 yards. Greg Reed, also a return man that led the nation a year ago with punt returns, is an excellent, skilled guy at great speed. So we'll have a lot of emphasis through the week of where we're punting the ball and getting some hang time and good coverage, hopefully. And but outside of that, again, it's a tradition-rich program at Florida State, a team that's won a good number of championships through the years, and we realize what a big challenge it'll be here, but an exciting one here this week.
How did you grade your offensive line, and you played well?
Well, I think I graded it just inconsistent. I thought, anytime you rush the ball for, over 200 yards, you're doing things well. But I would say we're much further along than a year ago. But we're still looking for more. Overall, some guys, Ben Hayburn did a nice job in there, and all of them at times did a good job. It's just here and there. There's one breakdown, or we need to finish a block better, and again, something that maybe you get 3, you feel like you should have got 6 or 7, those kind of things. But again, I felt they played cleaner. They're a lot, penalty-wise was positive, played more physical. So I think we're making good progress.
What did you think of your passing game performance and just how the mesh between the quarterback and the receivers went in the game?
Well, again, early on it was positive and good, and then. Somewhere late second quarter and middle part of the game, it wasn't, as consistent as it was early and as we need it to be. So it was, someone had said it the other day, just kind of uneven. It wasn't as where it needs to be. I will say we held quite a few things that we didn't show that we've been working on and which didn't help us. We put us in a, whatever, we didn't execute as well in some areas that we thought we should have.
Bob, how much does it help that your defense saw Burrell move around and he threw a lot on the run? Ponder does that some, and the fact that Mark is running a similar defense.
It helps a lot. Obviously Florida State's offense is like night and day compared to what we just faced, meaning all the triple option and the style that Utah State played. So anyway, it's different that way, but it did, it's something we emphasized, took a lot of time on tape on how we're letting them out of the pocket, how we can keep them in the pocket, how we can stay in front of them, and those kind of things. So it was good to see and good to experience going into this game that we can make some corrections on it.
Can you talk about who the scout team quarterback was last week preparing for Burrell, and will it be the same guy this week?
Yeah, it's the same guy. John Nemo was last week, and he's set to do it here this week.
He apparently did a pretty good job in practice, scouting for your defense.
Yeah, he does a nice job every day. I don't know what I'm not evaluating. His performance, but we like what John does. He's a good player, and so I don't. He does a great job.
Are there any other players that may see the field more than they did a week ago, other than Madu?
Madu, Frank Alexander, Price Macon, and then we have some other guys that are closer and closer that we're getting ready to play. We're close with Daniel Noble, D lineman. It's really been playing well in practice. Corey Nelson, I think has a chance to play more. Aaron Colvin has a chance to play more.
Bob, does having the nation's longest home winning streak hold any significance for you?
None. I didn't even know, or I pay attention. So it doesn't matter. You've got to play this week, right? So no, it doesn't mean a thing.
How'd you grade Ronell Lewis, and do you see him being in the lineup a little bit more so you can have your best players out there more?
Yeah, I think some of that definitely. But you're talking about Frank Alexander and Jeremy Beal aren't bad guys, So so he just needs to be in the rotation. He did well. He's still learning. He's still, when he shouldn't get upfield, he'll get upfield more than he should, and those kind of things. Instead of closing on the tackle when he blocks down, it's little things, but he's getting it more and more, and made a nice sack, and so we feel the more he plays, the more comfortable he's going to be there, and you got to have 4 or 5 guys there to rotate, to play as hard as you need him to rush the passer, and he'll be one of those guys.
Bob, at times you had Jefferson and Ibeloy on the field at the same time. those guys really are big safeties that can play up to the line of scrimmage, can't they?
Yeah, Tony had an excellent game. I should have mentioned him too. He was recognized also for having a really good game in his first start, and Joseph at times, you know, he's still learning, could play better. We played him in a different position, but in some longer yardage situations. But he'll continue to make improvement too.
How did Ward play?
He did well outside of the really, you know, poor and foolish penalties. But outside of that, he had a really good day. But those were huge. So that negated the positive play that he had. But he was where he needed to be, tackling, and I thought he did a real good job outside of that.
From a preparation standpoint, are there positives and negatives in coaching against your brother?
You know, there are not real positives. We all get to study and watch each other's tape. Whether I know a guy or not, you can see what they're doing, you know, but there are structural, you know, similarities, of course, him being with Mike coming from here that you see, but a lot of them are common to a lot of teams, in structure-wise. So I don't see that's a big deal. You know, the negatives, there's many. It's just not, you know, you don't really want to play your brother. I've said it a lot, but you know, you want to play your brother in a championship game, because not only does someone lose, someone's going to win a championship too. So that's, to me, is the only time you're really looking to do it.
Is Mike staying out of it this week?
Yeah. Mike got his own issues, I'm sure. So this time of year, we're all in our own business. So.